That Rakugo. That was very morbid. Morbid Rakugo. But I liked it. That was quite the performance from Bon. You know, I think that was his best Rakugo performance I have seen from him. I mean, he had some really good performances before in previous episodes. But when you see that dark story of how the person died and his light went out, that was a really good performance. I love what the animators or the production team did in that scene. When they added, like, this, you know, feeling of if they were really there. Like, there was a Shinigami really talking to them and in the lights and candles and stuff. I really love that. It really added more immersion to the scene. Definitely by far one of my favorite scenes of Rakugo in general. Definitely my personal favorite scene. Like, out of all the episodes, that was probably one of my personal favorite moments. Because that was such a good moment of the episode. It fit the theme of this episode. It was a very dark and gloomy episode, and you know, it was more about passing on or like passing on the name of the family, and also learning to carry on the next generation. And that's what this episode was. And seeing the gloomy, like, I guess, aura coming off of the Rakugo that Bon did, it definitely added more immersion to the episode. Now, this episode of Rakugo, though, it seems like we're almost done, because it sets up for, you know, Bon once again meeting his longtime brother that he grew up with, and just discussing things about, you know, Yakumo dying. And it's kind of sad, because, I mean, with this episode, you already know now, since we have the introduction of, you know, the girl that was born by Shin, we know we're getting closer to the conclusion of the series. And it makes me sad, because I love this series a lot, and seeing how it's finally coming to an end, it just makes me scratch my head like, where the fuck did the series go? Because, I mean, it feels like I just started Shouwa, or Rakugo, like 2 weeks ago. But, I mean, a lot has happened. I know a lot has happened in the span of these past 2 to 3 months since the series started airing, but it's just crazy. Like, it's really crazy how time just flies when you're watching a good series, and definitely Rakugo is that good series. Time does fly. And it's had some really good moments throughout this entire series. And this episode right here is the exact same thing. Great stuff, great Rakugo, great meaning, and just seeing that one scene with Yakumo actually talking about how he got his name, and then also what he did to get his name, and he was a rich boy, and how he shunned Shin's master that taught him his Rakugo before he came to, you know, Yakumo. That right there, that scene, holy fucking shit. That really opens your eyes to this series. Because what this means is that Shin all along, like his previous generation, like his, you know, master before he came to Yakumo and Bon and met him, Shin's previous master was the one that taught him and should have been the rightful owner of the next generation, been the 7th generation. And then, in the recent events of the latest couple episodes, you have it where Shin was shafted by Yakumo and wasn't allowing him to get his family name, wasn't going to give him the 8th generation. And in a way, this is kind of like Yakumo repeating the same mistake he did in the past. And it's also like, once again, another person that deserved to be the next named person, the next generation, was shafted and shoved to the side, and then Bon took it. It was a very interesting development throughout this episode, and it definitely added a whole lot more depth to the series, because when you actually take a moment to consider that now, you understand the viewpoint on why Bon acts like he does in the future, why he's so cold, or why he's distant. And I mean, you see that one scene in this episode where he's like, I'm alone now, and that right there, you're like, oh my god, like that really hits you, like, my god. And I feel like that's what makes Rakugo so good. What makes this series so good is because it's realistic. It really is. There's so much realistic character interactions going on. You can really just dive in and feel the emotions. And the actors are definitely doing a great job with, you know, displaying the emotions as well. If it wasn't for the superb voice acting that was adding emotion and life to the characters with their voices, I just don't think this series would be as good. Because if we think about it, when it comes to this anime series, what's really probably winning us over is probably those performances as well. And I mean, when you're hearing the performance, they're pretty much, even though they're not professional Rakugo players, they still have to kind of, you know, read the lines that they're given from the Rakugo, and because of this, they have to sound realistic the way they're doing it. And I gotta give Bon's voice actor credit for what he did in this episode. Like I said, that performance he did, I'm not just, crediting the character, but I'm crediting the voice actor. The voice actor nailed that, acting when it came to the voice and trying to make the Shinigami realistic and stuff, and then Bon, how he's switching back and forth with the different characters he was talking as. That right there, if it wasn't for the voice actor doing such an amazing job, I don't think this episode would have been as good in my eyes. So yes, episode, definitely, out of everything, I think the voice actors need a whole lot more credit than they're given, because I love the visuals, I love the fucking music, and I love the story, and I love the writing, but we also need to credit these voice actors. If it wasn't for these voice actors with their amazing performances and the way they can show life in their characters, I don't think we all would have enjoyed this series as much as we do at this moment. So yeah, episode setting up for Shin and Bond's meeting once again. We're probably going to find out how Shin died, go more in depth with that, and then probably the series is going to be wrapping up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.